Hello, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters. Today is Build a Block Wednesday. We are building a crazy block. These blocks that I'm showing you right now were cut with the Quilt cutter for crazy patches, the 6.5-inch block. I know that not everybody has one of those, and it can easily be done without using an Quilt. I will show you how, so that all your blocks turn out basically the same pattern. You notice there's a pentagon in the middle on every block, and some of them are just turned different directions. Let me see if I can turn it the same. There we go. It's the same direction. And each block has the same 10 pieces of fabric, but it appears in a different location. So I am going to show you, and when you turn it and you place it in a row, you don't notice that they are all exactly the same anyway. I am building this block because the next series, starting on Monday, is on embellishing, and crazy blocks are a great thing to embellish. Let's flip to the little birds. Let's flip to the red blocks. So you can see I have a variety of lights and darks, and this one even has a dark pink in it, a couple dark pinks. There's another one, stripe in the middle. So I'm going to show you how to make your own pattern and pieces using paper, a ruler, and we will also use some freezer paper. And the lovely yellow block. Now this piece is a little darker, but it still fits in. It's yellow. Doesn't take away from the yellowness of the blocks. Some are very light, some are more tan in this yellow set. Now, if I were putting these two next to each other, I would move that far away, those two far away from each other. Probably like that, so that those two also are not side by side. Anyway, let's pull one out to look at. So I notice I have a pentagon in the middle and a long seam here. And then I have another fairly long seam here, and so on. So those long seams are my first cuts. Let's take a look at how to draw up this block. I'm going to use a piece of paper first, and the seams suck up some of the fabric, so I need to oversize. I'm going to use a plain piece of printer paper. I'm going to fold it so it's squared off. Then I'm going to use paper. Well, actually, I think I'll just fold it so it's squared off. There we go. I don't even need to cut it at the moment. So I have my handy dandy ruler, paper and pencil. First I need a long seam. So, long seam, that will be cut number 1. And then I want that sort of divided into 3 parts, because I want to use 10 fabrics. I like that number. And then I want a fairly big triangle here, divided in half here. And I want another triangle here, divided into 2 parts. Now, the advantage of using an AccuQuilt cutter is that they've already figured out all the sizes, and so when you put it together, you don't have to trim it. This method, you may have to trim it. Okay, I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. So now I need to number them around because I know that I don't want to mix these. I'm going to mark them so I know which way is up, just in case. So I don't get them turned around, because that won't work real well. And then I'm just going to number them 1, 2, 3, and this will be seam number 1, 4 and 5, 6. Oops. Oh, I didn't want to circle that. Ooh. 6. I'm circling seam numbers. 7, 8, 9, 10. So this has to be the first cut, and I will show you how to do this. Pull away. This will be the second cut. The third cut, 4th, 5th cut, 6th cut, 7th cut, 8th cut, 9th cut. Okay, I think I have everything covered. This is my basic pattern. Now I need to transfer it over to a piece of freezer paper to make life a little easier. I could get out the light box, but I don't need it to be that precise. I'm just going to trace the numbers or the lines again. So now I have a pattern. I am going to cut 5 pieces of fabric at a time. I'm using this one to just lay to the side and always be able to look at my pattern. This one I'm going to actually cut. Let me show you my fabric. I just chose 10 random fabrics, and they may not be completely within, because I'm trimming down to a 6.5 inch block. So let me show you what I've got that I had in my scrap bin. Some of these came from yard sales or Vinnie. Somebody was making bibs, and I'm not interested in bibs, but it has cute little red patterns. Mottled red, Coke fabric, more Coke fabric, dots. This looks like it should be velvet and flocked, doesn't it? With a nice, and swirls, and more swirls. So 10 total fabrics. You can do these in various colors if you want. Today I'm just making a single color block, because that's what I need for that project. Okay, I have ironed the freezer paper copy down to the fabric, and you'll notice it doesn't go the whole way to the edges. It'll be all right, or it won't, and I'll have to add some more pieces to it. I think it'll be okay. Let me get out my ruler. My husband's making dinner. I hear the microwave beeping, and the hamburgers are in the oven because it's cooler today. So I'm going to cut on the lines. If you remember, I numbered the pattern so that big seams are basically first. I know some of you are cringing because there's paper involved there, but it will be okay. It will be. It will not dull the blade so much that I can't use it. To the side, just didn't work very well. I wasn't pushing very hard. There we go. There's piece number 1. And I can lay them right on my pattern as I go. And I see I'm going to have some excess here. Now for the next long seams. Ooh, that came off there. I need to line that up kind of the way I had it. So there I have my 4 and 5 pieces. I need another long seam. This cutting board has seen better days. It's not the blade, it's the board. I need to do the good soak cleaning, where you soak it in a little bit of water and get those little fibers out. I mean, it has served me well for the time I've owned it. It was a secondhand mat, so I can always turn it over and use the back. And one last cut. There we go. So now I have all the pieces lying on the pattern, ready to go. I need to cut the next 5 pieces of fabric, so I'm going to very gently pull off the pattern pieces and lay them on the next fabric and get it ready to cut. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I have the pieces. You'll notice I have them ironed down. I have them stuck to the next 5 fabrics, and I've left some spaces. And that won't hurt a thing, that I've left some spaces. Might help us out in the long run. I'm going to cut off this excess right here. And again with the first cut. Now I have noticed with this set of fabrics that when I get to piece 9, there's a chunk missing from the Coca-Cola fabrics. So I have a workaround for that too. It will be all right. That's what makes this scrappy. Let me move these scrap pieces out of the way. And let me get my pattern piece back here. So as I cut them, I can lay them on there again. And it's okay to turn this as you go. And if you nick a little bit of the pattern pieces, it's all right. This is a crazy quilt. This is sort of the way you make a paper piece pattern too. Not exactly, but sort of. I need to get the pieces all together in stacks on the board so that we can do some mix and match and sew a block. So I'm just going to peel the paper and stack them up. Hang on while we do this quickly. Now the only difficulty here is in this 9 spot where 2 of the fabrics, there was a chunk missing. So I need to come up with a workaround and cut a couple of these shaped pieces. It's no big deal. I'll throw those over in the scrap bin. And I have a piece of this fabric, the Coca-Cola fabric, and well, I only have one, so I don't have the red. So I am going to lay that piece on there and use my ruler and just cut 2 pieces to take the place of the pieces that had the chunks missing. It's no big deal. Okay, now we have the 2 pieces that we need, the red and the white Coca-Cola fabric. And I see that this way is up, this way is up, and I see that the red fabric was on top. So I'm going to put the red on top. I know it doesn't match, but that's all right. It's crazy. So the way I distribute these out, I start with, well, I think I'm going to start with this one. And I put the first one on the bottom. And then the next one, I put 2 on the bottom. If you're familiar with the stack and whack quilts. And then I put 3 on the bottom so that it changes what is right next to it. And I put 4 on the bottom. There is a book called Stack It. It's a series of books, I do believe, called Stack and Whack Books by Bethany somebody. So this technique is not just AccuQuilt. It's been around for a while. And each time I just take one more block and put it on the bottom. And this last one, I just bring the bottom to the top. And there we have different fabrics in different places because we cut 10 blocks up. Let's sew one together so you can see how this is made. So in this section, I'll connect piece 1 to piece 2 to piece 3, 4 and 5 together, 6 and 7 together, and so on. Where the big seams are the last ones to be sewn. I noticed that these 2 pieces need trimmed. Then I go back to sewing. Oh, it's a little short, so I added a piece. Now I'm trimming it to 6 1/2.